back to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the new Gwen Stefani palette. So I actually picked the palette up this week so that way I could go ahead and review it for you, because I know a lot of people were, back and forth about getting it. So I wanted to go ahead and get this review up for y'all. I also did a demo, as always, or like a tutorial on this eye look right here using the palette. I know I've been doing a lot of pops of colors here lately, so I wanted to do something that you could rock every single day, something super easy, neutral. That way, if you do get this palette, it is $58, so you definitely want to make sure that you are able to use it on a daily basis if you're going to spend that much money on a palette. So yeah, if you'd like to see what I thought about this palette, then just keep watching. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start with the palette. Of course, I've already did my eyebrows like always, and I've primed my eyes with MAC Painterly Paint Pot. So first I'm going to take this shade right here in the palette, the bottom color. It's called Skimp, and I'm going to apply it just as like a transition color. I'm going to go ahead and just put it all over my lid. It's actually a little bit lighter than I thought it was going to be, so I might have to go in and just darken it up a little bit. Then I'm going to take this color right here in the palette. It's called 1987. And by the way, I'm using a Morphe E23 brush to apply this. Just going back and forth, windshield wiper motions. And again, just going back and forth. Then I'm going to take this color right here in the palette. It's called Baby, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my MAC 242 brush, and I'm just going to put this all over the lid. This color looks pretty nice. Then I'm going to take this color right here in the palette. It's called Bathwater, and I'm actually just going to go over top of the color we just laid down just to kind of brighten it up a little bit more. I really like whatever's on my lid to be super bright and just pop, so. Then using a Sigma E25 brush, I'm going to take this shade right here, and I'm hoping that this will be fine to put down in the crease. We're just going to concentrate this color right here on the outer edge. And then just add a little bit more depth into the outer corner. I'm actually going to take the gray color right here. It's called Serious, and I'm just going to pop that very gently on the outer corner. And I'm going to go back in and just kind of blend everything out. And last step is I'm going to add this color right here called Blonde, and I'm going to put that right up in the brow bone. Okay. So this is the eye look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hop off camera. I'm going to finish the rest of my face like always, and then I'll be right back to do a full review of the palette for y'all. Okay, so here is the finished look with everything completely done, and let's go ahead and just hop into the full review. Okay, so this is what the packaging looks like. It's super cute. I really like it. It's a nice pretty gold and white, and then it has UD Gwen Stefani here at the bottom, so I'll give you guys like a close-up. So pretty. And then here on the back is all of these shadows. It gives you like the names of everything, and it just has a little bit of information about how she handpicked all of the shadows that were going to be in her palette. When you open it up, it has these cute little pink polka dots right here, and then the palette itself is absolutely gorgeous. So here's what it looks like. I think they did an amazing job on this palette. So you have beautiful gold trim around the edges, you have polka dots, and I really like the effect that this gives you because it's like kind of 3D. And then you have UD Gwen Stefani embedded right here. Then on the back side it's just the gold trim, and it says Urban Decay and Gwen Stefani, Beauty with an Edge, and it just talks about how many eyeshadows are in it and just gives you a little bit more information. One thing that I love is that it comes with a nice big mirror, sorry to blind y'all, and it says Magic's in the Makeup. Now I'm going to hold the palette over top of this, that way we aren't being blinded. So here's what the shadows look like. There are 15 shadows in this palette. As you can see, lots of nudes, and then you have some darker colors and pops of color here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this palette. It is $58. It's sold at Ulta, Sephora, Urban Decay, I believe Macy's, and I'll leave everything linked down below where you guys can find this if you do want to pick it up. Now with my reviews, you guys know that I like to give you my pros and my cons with the palette in case you guys were thinking about purchasing it or you were debating. That way you know what I like and then what I don't like. So as far as the pros, I love the packaging. I think it's super cute. I love that they collaborated with Gwen Stefani because I think it's really great when brands do collaborations, especially for people that really like her. It's really exciting to see someone that you look up to, you know, collaborating with a big company like Urban Decay. So the packaging is like one of the main things that I love the most in the palette. Now if you are somebody that loves, you know, neutral colors, I think this palette is going to be super awesome for you. I like that they do have, you know, a lot of nude colors, and it does give you pops of color. That way if you aren't as comfortable stepping out of your box, you do have some shades that you can kind of darken your crease up with, and if you get kind of crazy, you have a few really bright pops of color. So I do really like that. Now the cons about this palette, one, this palette is $58. I think that's super expensive. I can't really think of a lot of palettes that I own that cost that much. But the thing is, if I buy a palette that's $58, like, I want it to knock my socks off. Like, I want to get up every morning and I want to be like, I'm ready to use that palette, or you know what I mean, just be super excited about the palette. And for me personally, this palette didn't really do it for me. Another thing is, some of the shades in here I thought were kind of patchy. Like for instance, the color Pop right here at the bottom, whenever you rub your hand on it, it just kind of like kicks up. It looks kind of powdery in my opinion. And then whenever you rub it on, it like flakes off some of the shadows like across your hand, if that makes sense. Like whenever you rub it, it just kind of like kicks out some of the shadows, which I'm just honestly really not used to shadows doing that. Let me look at this darker color, and so that way you guys can see that. So I mean, that one's really pretty, and here's the pink color. But you see what I'm saying? Just all in all, like, the palette is not screaming like, oh my gosh, this is like a palette I should spend $58 on. So those are, you know, my cons about the palette. I feel like whenever you pay $58 for this palette, a lot of it's going toward the packaging instead of the product, which I don't really like. This isn't a palette that I'm going to be grabbing for every day. Yes, I do think it's a good everyday palette for people that love neutrals, but to me the neutrals aren't like really that different. So like I said, honestly, you know, I really do like the packaging of it, but all of the cons that I personally had for this palette, like, I just don't think it's worth spending $58 on. Like I said, if I'm going to spend $58 on it, I want it to be a palette that I'm like gung-ho about. And after using the palette, you know, I had to really build up the colors for the like shimmer shades that we have in the palette, and I just didn't think like as soon as I applied them that I was like, wow, those are like really stand out-ish colors. Yes, there's a lot of neutrals in the palette, but I don't feel like the neutrals are that much of a variety. Like, I feel like a lot of the colors are kind of the same. They're very muted, and for me the palette just isn't something that I like would have to like run out and get if I was going to choose something, or if I was going to be picking up a new palette. There are a couple shades in here too that are repeats. So yeah, for me, like I said, this palette is just not like my holy grail palette. If you love nudes, it's probably a really great palette for you to pick up. I don't think that it's awful, but like I said, in my opinion, it's just not something that I think is a must-have, especially for the price point. You know, you could go out and get Makeup Geek eyeshadows and build your own palette and have shadows that show up a lot better, in my opinion. I feel like with the collaborations, it can be hard sometimes because, you know, even though a lot of people might like Gwen Stefani, they probably really wanted to get this palette just because of her. And I feel like that makes it hard because then, you know, even if the quality isn't there, then you still want to keep it because it's a collaboration with somebody that you like. So those are my thoughts. Like I said, let me know if you picked this up, if you really like it. I've only used it a couple times, but that's just what I got out of using it. So yeah. If you guys like seeing reviews, if you like reviews on new products, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up. As always, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!